Hi, everyone. Reverend Dr. Katie. I'm coming to you on St. Patrick's Day in 2020. If you're watching this live, we're in the middle of this COVID-19 epidemic. If you're watching this later on, you're going to remember the time really, really well. And I'm coming to my group, to the Metaphysical Christian today. If you're not part of the group, come on and join us. We're a group of over 5,000 people, all Jesus followers, and looking at metaphysics as a way of life. And so I'm coming to this group today to talk a little bit about reducing anxiety during this time. Things are all a little bit up in the air. What in the world do we do? And especially, how do we find spiritual roots in this time of planetary uneasiness? And as I was thinking about this question earlier today, and like a lot of you, I'm at home. I opened my garage really briefly today to take the trash out, and that's about it. And it's raining. The dog doesn't even want to go out in the backyard today. So we're all facing this time where we're really called to look out for ourselves, to look out for our fellow humans, and stay put as much as we can. Those of you in the medical field, you're rock stars. We know you're getting out there. Those of you who are in essential services where you do have to go in, y'all are rock stars. We're very grateful, and want to encourage you to take precautions. Either way, whether you're at home, whether you're going in somewhere, it can be really stressful. If you're staying at home, it's a brand new routine. All of a sudden, if you have kids, they're at home, they're not in school, you're at home, maybe you have a spouse or siblings or something like that are also at home, and you're trying not to step all over each other, and adjusting to not being outside so much and going and doing as freely as we're used to. But if you're going into work, you're also going in, and then you're worried about everyone. You're worried about yourself, about what you're touching. You're worried about your loved ones at home. And so a lot of us are getting in this flight or fight mode, very normal, very common, very human. And what I want to offer today are maybe just a few tips for getting out of flight or fight, because it's only when you get out of the flight or fight mode that you can really begin to actually think about your spiritual life. So y'all, this is a beautiful opportunity to dig deep into your spiritual roots, to get some more foundation, to continue the processes that you've begun, because what else are you going to do? You're going to run out of Netflix eventually. And so this is a great time to really dig deep into your own soul, to start that interior journey. If that feels new to you, to really ground yourself and get some practices that will benefit you, not only through this time of epidemic, but for the rest of your life. And the beautiful thing is, once you have these practices, once you're willing to look inward, it's a journey that will serve you for forever, no matter where you are. And in fact, I use these tools, like I'll be in the middle of somewhere that's stressful, a big urban environment, or things are going awry. You can just stop wherever you are, access these tools, really access your spiritual roots, and then continue. So a lot of us are thinking, what do I do long term? Actually, those are worthwhile questions, but they're just going to produce more anxiety right now. For now, just decide what you're going to do in the next minute, the next 5 minutes, the next 10 minutes, and slowing down, taking some deep breaths, calming down your parasympathetic nervous system is a great way to begin. That will give you the strength and the resilience you need, the spiritual and emotional strength and resilience, to start to make more long-term plans. And no one knows what's going to happen. Yeah, no, I don't. You don't. What I do know is that having these spiritual tools at your disposal, your easy disposal, will serve you no matter what. So, hey, everyone. Hey, it's great to see you. I just don't say names on Facebook Lives because these go out other public places, but I know who you both are. Hey, it's great to see you. I'm glad that you're here. So I want to address a couple more things. One, we're going to talk about Jesus, because, of course we do. And then talk a little bit about your vibration, keeping your vibration really high. And the third thing is, and this is a question, you can go ahead and respond in the comments, would it be beneficial to you guys to have just a free call? Anyone can join in who wants, like a Zoom call, where we, like a spiritual resilience in the time of COVID-19. And I can give you some tips in a little more personalized way for sort of spiritual grounding. These are going to be pretty simple, pretty basic, pretty rudimentary, but pretty powerful. So if that would serve you, then go ahead and comment. Those of you who are in the pilot program will be doing this as well at a greater depth, but you can be part of both, and that would be really fun. So if that would serve you, if that's something you would be interested in, just comment below. And we'll actually, we would do that on Zoom and just get together for 30 minutes, maybe a nice part of your routine, a nice part of your rhythm. So let's go in order then. One is Jesus. Jesus lived in a time of huge turmoil. Things were changing politically, things were changing economically. The world became very international by the time Jesus was born. We think of the ancient world as always being sort of I don't know. I find that people tend to think of the ancient past, 2,000 years ago, as being primitive. But actually, that's not the case at all. It was a very cosmopolitan place. People were coming and going. The Roman Empire was just beginning to flourish at its height around the time that Jesus was coming into his ministry, actually. And so we're just on our second or third Caesar by that time. And so Jesus actually lived in a time of extreme cosmopolitanism. There was a lot of disease. There was a lot of economic oppression, political oppression, and illness. So we see that Jesus addresses all of those in his teachings. And the Christian tradition has taken the teachings of Jesus, the teachings of the early church, the very best of what we know about how the mind, body, spirit works. We've created these beautiful practices that help ground people, especially in times of crisis. If you're only turning to these for the first time now, they're going to feel particularly foreign. It's still a great time to go ahead and begin. So you can choose to live your days with high anxiety, doing nothing to attend to your spirit, or you can choose to attend to your spirit in these little short bursts, and then that'll give you the opportunity to start to dig deep so that you can have the tools you need to manage when things come your way, right? So I know we're all living in a state of heightened anxiety right now just because of everything that's going on, of staying inside, of worry, and concern about our neighbors as well. And, the grocery stores are empty. I know we made the error of going at 9 last night. Yeah, that was that was senseless. But didn't stress about it that much. We were like, oh yeah, nothing's left. We'll make do with what we have at home, thinking that they would be fewer people. There were fewer people, but also fewer things that were there. So this is also the opportunity we have to be extraordinarily kind to one another, to really reach out, to have meaningful conversation, to have meaningful interactions with people. And we know that that's what Jesus taught us to do. He approached people with whom he was becoming their healer, and listened to them and spoke with them and heard them. And we are also called to do the same thing. So I encourage everyone to start to reorient the way you're thinking about your interactions right now in that way. So Jesus lived at this time of high turmoil, taught about the spiritual fruits that we can have when we enter into close relationship with God, when we listen very deeply to our intuition, when we reach out in kindness and compassion and healing. And that enables us to actually become a voice of justice. So when you do see injustices, you'll be able to speak about them from a place of deep rootedness, and make your impact in that way. So does that make sense? Let me know if that's making sense. I'm just looking for comments coming in. Cool. All right. Yay. Okay. I'll address all of these in just a second. And then the second thing to talk about is your vibration. Your vibration. How you approach this epidemic will, with your vibration being as high as it can, will be absolutely, absolutely essential to maintaining your cool. Not only maintaining your cool, but growing spiritually. If you're committed to growing spiritually during this time, that means a constant attentiveness to your own vibration. And that is so possible. So I really encourage, just as some preliminary steps for everyone, I really encourage you to set up a routine for yourself. Make sure, if you don't know where to start with the body. If you don't know what to do, start off with stretching, or with yoga, or with working out, or with some kind of routine that uses the body in order to sort of calm the mind and prepare your spirit. And I find that to be pretty effective in my own life. And in my household, we agreed that working out would be really important. We agreed that dinner time would be really important, and we agreed that we would not try to eat lunch together, even though we're all in the same house together, because usually we don't, and that feels like too many restrictions, like to try to impose on ourselves. But if we end up in the kitchen at the same time, no big deal. But we're not going to try to orchestrate that with our schedules, right? So just setting up that routine, and find the chores that you really love to do, find the project that you've been waiting on doing, and busy yourself doing that for a little while. And that I find that using the body in that way can really make a big difference in preparing ourselves to do our emotional, spiritual journey. And, set up a routine, but be nimble. Things happen. It's okay. We don't have to be totalitarian about it. But kind of setting up that routine gives us some structure and some order we can really tap into. There's a reason why nuns and monks in monasteries and in convents have a really strict routine. But if there's an emergency, the routine doesn't necessarily get adhered to, right? So it's really nimble. But people who spend their days in work and prayer have a very, very ordered existence, exactly for that reason, because that structure helps gives us something to latch onto, and it way beats sitting around and worrying, right? Which is not going to do you any good. Right? So we're all in this together, and so if we can transform our thinking from being one of competition into one of cooperation and kindness and compassion, that will go a long way to service. That's my invitation to everyone. And we do that 1 second at a time, 1 minute at a time, one meditation experience at a time will help transform that mindset for all of us. So all of us have the lizard brain that's like, we're going to compete for resources, but we all have the ability that Jesus encourages us to have to transform that into compassion, into awareness, into beauty and grace that we can share with ourselves and we can share with others. That's what I'll be encouraging everyone to do over the next however long. We don't know. So I feel like this is also a beautiful time for humanity to reach new spiritual heights together. And we have this gift of technology where we can actually do this, where we can be in community, be in relationship with one another. And with all the public places closing, we are being asked to turn to our interior selves. You are being asked to turn to into your inward self and to begin that beautiful awakening, to continue your beautiful awakening, to continue your process of transformation. And if y'all been hanging around, that's what I'm all about. That's what I'm all about. Like, we're all in this together. So imagine if all 5,000 people in this group choose to do that during this epidemic time. We choose to turn inward. We choose to deepen our spiritual roots. We choose to raise our vibration. Imagine at the end of this, like, oh my gosh, what your life is going to look like, what your soul is going to feel like. Imagine all the service that you will have done and that you will be prepared to do for the future. So you get to choose how you use this time. And again, just calming down the body, taking some deep breaths, and engaging in some practices that will serve you and help you tap into the Jesus teachings will be really, really beneficial for your soul journey, for your physical journey, for your life journey, for your purpose, for living out your purpose. And how amazing is it? We can begin the process of living out our purpose, like here in front of our computers, like on Facebook Lives, on Zooms, on our own in our meditation corner. And that will go a long way. I also encourage you to really talk to other people in your household and establish what your needs are. Like, everyone's needs are going to be different and they're going to change. Some of you will need time alone. Some of you will need time with other people in your household. Really listen to each person, find out what they need, come to some compromises that will serve you. And it's way better to do it now than to wait until there's a fight or something like that. Right. So that's a great way to keep your vibration high, is to make plans, but keep them really flexible, keep them really nimble. So I'm just going to pause. I'm looking at some questions, and we had some from an earlier post, so I'll turn to those too. So just give me a minute. Yes, energy exercises are good. Meditation is awesome. I am thinking, in addition to the spiritual resilience 30-minute Zoom calls that we might do, I'm also considering reopening a meditation course that I've done. So if that would be of service to you, let me know. And it's a 21 days to meditation for busy Christians. So that may be of service to some of you. What else do you have to do? Like I said, you're going to run out of Netflix. You got to pace yourself. When bored, why not meditate instead? And meditation will teach you actually how to deal with boredom. So it's actually a beautiful tool that keeps on giving. Yes. Okay. So I'm seeing some other comments. Yes, I love this. This is an opportunity to bond with the family and loved ones and at a greater level with God. Yay, yay. Perfect. Exactly. Cool. Okay. All right. So I'm just seeing yeses that the spiritual resilience group would be helpful. Let me turn to my other post because some questions had come in there. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So in addition to like, how do I live with these people 24/7 for the immediate few weeks, we also have a question on, yeah, struggling with separation from loved ones because some if you have older parents or you're an older parent and have younger kids or whoever, whatever the relationships are in your life, then you're probably not supposed to really go see them at this time. And the more urban of an environment you're in, the more that is true. Right. So yeah, this is also a great time. All the practices that we mentioned will serve that. And it's a great time to find new ways to express your love, whether that's letters, whether it's emails, whether it's like a recording that you make of you and send that to them. And maybe just set up some regular times to call or to be in communication that you can look forward to. So this has a couple of benefits. When we pre-plan things like that, like a chat with someone that we love that's supportive, we look forward to it, we get to have fun while we're doing it, and then we get to remember it with affection and with fondness. Those 3 steps are really important. So I highly encourage everyone to pre-plan some of the fun things that you're going to be doing, because that actually really helps with your vibration, and it's good for other people that you're in contact with as well. If they're not tech savvy, make it work in a way that will work with them. And yeah, just get creative. And I've seen a lot of children are, writing letters, drawing pictures, and then they're sending them to nursing homes. Nursing homes aren't supposed to have visitors right now, or scanning them if mail is not possible. I'm actually like not sending that much stuff out in the mail right now, which is too bad, because I have this new chakra line like ready to debut, but I don't want to put stuff in the mail right now. So I'm just going to show you so you can get ready for it. This is my third eye chakra spray. There we go. Yeah, so I have this already, but I don't want to mail right now. So they're going to sit in my living room under a nice blanket so they won't get any light for the next couple of months. Be flexible. Plans change. It's okay, right? That's not actually stressing me out that much because they're all made. So you all get them in the summer. You all get them in the fall, right? So this is the kind of way that we have to really begin the journey together and let your emotion, deal with your emotions in this way so that you can raise into this new vibration. All right. We also had another question came in. Yeah. How do you keep your high vibration while dealing with loved ones who keep falling into fear-based thinking? All right. I think that's a beautiful question. I have a video on keeping your vibration high, like when people are backpedaling or when there's a lot of fear around you. So I will find that and I'll share that with the group because that may be helpful for you too. But I think my number one tip is engaging your spiritual practices like first thing. Get up early, get up at 4 a.m. What else are you going to do? Get up at 4 a.m. and do that so you're really prepared before the day begins. Other people are processing their stuff. Ultimately, they're not our responsibility, but we do have to live with them. If it's someone that lives with you in your household. So you do have to figure out a way to coexist with these different energies, but you're not responsible for their energy. You're only responsible for yours. So as much as you can, refuse to take it on. And also eventually you can also tell people exactly what you need. Like, I understand that you're scared. Acknowledge their feelings. Their feelings are valid. I understand your feelings and I really need this right now. Is that something that you can give me or not? They can't give it to you. You coexist very peacefully in other rooms for a little while. So you hold your boundary. You hold your boundary with what you can and can't hear, without we don't have to be jerks about it. We don't have to deny other people's feelings. They're entitled to them, whatever they are. But when they do begin to impact your energy field, it is okay to put a boundary there and to say, I've just had enough of this for today. So for today, I'm going to go meditate. Do you want to join me or not? And so you find out your own way to approach that, but don't be scared to insist and maintain healthy boundaries in this time. Actually, I think that's essential for all of us all of the time, but especially in this time of the epidemic. Okay, so 2 more questions. Let me address these. So someone wrote in that they are at risk in the at-risk demographic for COVID-19. So they're self-quarantining, have been extraordinarily careful for 2 years. So that's great practice anyway. I just want to stop and applaud that. But do find yourself getting angry at people who disbelieve the science or diminish the threat. And I have noticed that too. There's a lot of like, well, I'm fine. But if you're fine and you're a carrier and asymptomatic and you come in contact with someone who's in a at-risk demographic, that's not good. Those people are not disposable. How do I find peace, personal peace, and a spirit of forgiveness for these people? And how can I gently correct them? So there's a lot in there. I'm going to speak just really briefly, and this is more we could talk about like in the spiritual resilience calls for sure. And so I would say deal with your own emotions about it first and your own spiritual groundedness. Like find your own, let those process, get angry, journal, like whatever you need to do in order to process that, because those feelings are really, really real. And as far as gently correcting, I find it most helpful to speak from my own experience. And again, even if you don't feel it, you might validate the other person's feelings because they may just not like genuinely not understand. So you can say, gosh, I see how you are coming to that conclusion. I'd love to tell you about my personal story and why this is important to me. So you only speak from yourself rather than gently correcting. So actually, if you flip the energy of that from gentle correction to speaking your own truth, then you'll say whatever you need to say with authority because it's your story. And, you know, you can have your own emotions about it and it's not about them. So if it's about them, people will feel defensive and might not be able to hear you. But if it's about your own story, people will be able to hear that more. And then, of course, you can erect your own boundaries, your own personal boundaries as needed. So I hope that's helpful. Let me know. And then the final one, yeah, I love this. Balancing our own human instinct for personal survival against literally giving up what we have to those in needs as we're called to do. And this person's in the UK. The supermarket shelves are actually empty here too in the United States. They've never quite seen that. Okay, it's pretty long, so I'm going to condense it just for a second. Yeah, I agree. It's hard not to overbuy when you see shelves being stripped in front of you, not knowing how much you need because you don't know when the next supply trains are, etc. And yeah, how do you keep faith in this particular time? So I'd say, look, do your preparatory work as much as you can. Get what you can get what you need when you can. I had a decision to make in the grocery store the other day. What was I buying? Oh, I was buying my favorite creamer. I'm a tea drinker. I'm an American who loves hot tea. And there were two left, like the two nice ones that I really like. And I was like, I can't take both. I don't want to be a jerk. And it's not a necessity, right? Like, it's not a necessity, but I love it. But yeah, so I was like, okay, I'm going to take one. I'm going to leave the other one. Someone else that need it will get it. So you can make those, especially on luxuries, make your decisions with some kindness, with some compassion. And then I think we're going to see a spirit of generosity, a spirit of sharing. So don't be afraid to ask for what you need. Get online and say, we're out of this. Does anyone have any that they can spare? And put a sign on your front door, like however your community works. And one thing I think this will do for us is bring us back into Christian community. So many of us are so fragmented. We think we have to do everything by ourselves. We think we have to be solo. And that's actually antithetical to the gospel message. The gospel brings us together. It says people are important. We share with one another. We see in the book of Acts that the early Christian community, there were some that had more and there were some in need, and they shared. And when one group was being taken advantage of, Stephen became the first martyr. Before he was martyred, became the person in charge of making sure that the distributions were equal. And so if we can take that back as Christians, if we can self-monitor and be in community in a way that we can really facilitate that, make your vibration such that you expect that to happen. With law of attraction, it's a great time to get into the unit in the Facebook group and go through the law of attraction unit. And if we can expect that to happen, then I bet it will. And we can all facilitate that. And that we know that there's abundance, right? We know that there's more than enough for everyone. So it's a great time to practice some self-restraint for luxury things that we don't need, but that we enjoy. And it's a great time to practice sharing and abundance and generosity for things that we can share. And I actually just joined another Facebook group today that's all about this. It's about greeting strangers with kindness and letting people know when others are in need. And so if you have abundance, share it. If you need something, ask. And so we don't want to let pride, the classic sin of pride, get in the way of making our request and making them openly and honestly. So I would encourage everyone to practice both of those, practice both generosity and asking for help when you need it. Yeah, I've asked for help so many times over the years, with different things, with different needs I've had at different points in my life. But also when I seek out mentors, when I seek out spiritual companions, I ask for help. And so I think this goes both ways. We have to both be willing to be the helper and to request help when we need it. And so that's a great question. Thank you so much for bringing that up. I think stores are empty everywhere. People kind of went into panic freeze mode, and bought. So yeah, like I said, my trip to the grocery store yesterday, there was like picked over vegetables, and that was about it. But we know that there's actually an abundance, and that we have to ask, right? We ask our neighbors, and bring that vibration up all together. Okay. So this has been extraordinarily long Facebook Live. We're at like 25 minutes, 26 minutes now. So I'm going to go ahead and start to wind up. I'm going to see if there's any more questions. Yeah, so I see, yes, kindness and love is good. Perfect. Okay, so I think that I've answered all the questions that are out there. I'll be in touch with all of you about forming the spiritual resilience, like Zoom calls. The earliest it would be Saturday or Sunday. I am just swamped in a good way until then, but I think we could start to manage that then. And again, if opening up the meditation group and class would be of service to you, like you got a lot of time on your hands right now, so might as well use some of that in meditation and then prayerful meditation, then we can definitely do that too. So I'll be in touch with everyone about that. If you have any more questions, be sure to write on the page. Be sure to tag me so I am sure to see it, and I will talk to everyone soon.